Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and attention coach, Jeff Copper. Today I want to bring some awareness to what used to be kind of built into our day that's invisible, that helped people, I think, with ADHD that is slowly eroding or being taken away, or they're letting it be taken away. And that is the value of a commute. Before we do that, really want to make you aware of children and adults with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, better known as CHAD. They have a website where you can find evidence-based and evidence-informed information on ADHD. Just go to chadd.org. So people with ADHD, we've done a couple shows, we've done a lot of videos and stuff on working memory. And some of the videos I've touched about, when it comes to working memory, we've got to load thoughts and ideas into our head in order for us to begin to manipulate it or organize it. Loading those thoughts into your head is a very effortful process. And it's one of those things that's really important for people with ADHD because thinking's kind of hard for them. And the idea is, if you're going to think, you got to load ideas and thoughts into your mind before you can do some stuff with them. So when you understand that working memory is a big issue with people with ADHD, it's actually the elephant in the room, you begin to understand some things. Like some people with ADHD, their intention is to review the night before what they're going to do in the morning, but they end up not doing it over a period of time because they review what they're going to do and they forget about it. In the morning, they've got to review it again. In other words, boot it up so that they can work with it. They think they should do it the night before, but they end up doing it twice, and that's unproductive. And so they just end up doing it in the morning, not realizing it. A lot of people with ADHD that are very, very successful have a tendency to sit down with a cup of coffee and they begin to go through their day, their calendar, et cetera. And what I'm trying to emphasize is that we used to have a commute to the office where we're driving on the way, and we're not aware of it. But when you get into the car and your head to work, you begin to think about your day and what you've got to do that day and begin to process it. Sometimes you talk about it on the way in. And the same thing when you leave the office, you're kind of processing the aftermath of the day, which enables you to kind of review and problem solve a little bit. In our world today, where people are working out at home, they don't have this booting up process. And when you're in a car, it's a captive environment. You're in the car and you're on the way to wherever you're going to go. And I know you're paying attention to traffic and some other things, but there is this time where there's not a lot going on, even if the radio's playing, that you're kind of daydreaming about your day and getting ready for it. And again, processing your way home. And that's being stripped away. And so people are going to their desk and they're having a hard time getting started because they feel like they're coming in a cloud of dust. Well, they are. The issue is there was no commute. There was no time built into the schedule. And so again, a commute was those things that you had to do that was to get to work, but you didn't realize this executive functioning process that was taking place. And I'm doing this video to ask you, is that if before you study, before you work, do you go through some type of a process to become familiar with the information before you work with it? Because if you don't, I think that you find that you have a hard time getting started. Now, there's a variety of ways of doing that. Really depends on the individual, but I really wanted to bring some awareness that if you begin to think, I need to commute both to and from what I'm going to do, whether it's figuratively or physically, maybe you got to take a walk or something, you build that in. I think you might find it a little bit easier to get started and have a better day. So thoughts on this? Comments are always welcome. Please, stimulates some good ideas on my side. And also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We send out a tip on ADHD every week or an insight to help you. With that, hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.